guys, we are finally making the YouTube that has taken me about 6 weeks to actually get around to making. A lot of you over on Instagram have been asking the simple question, why have I gone back flying? And with that, what has happened to coaching or what is happening with coaching? So let's have a little chat while I am on home reserve, hoping not to be called out. I'm going to do my makeup. I did my makeup yesterday and I didn't get called, so I feel like if you do your makeup, maybe you've less chance to get called. If you don't do it, you're definitely getting called. It's like when you go to the bathroom when you're in a restaurant and your food always comes. That's my logic. Anyway, I'll try and remember to show you the products I'm using as well. That's Prime Plus Revlon Hydrating Primer, because your face gets super dry on flights. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna have to rewind. Let's get with that. We're gonna have to rewind. I'm gonna tell you briefly, or try and keep this as brief as possible. I did actually record it yesterday and it was a bit long, so let's try and keep it a little bit more brief. This is the MCO Charlotte Tilbury dupe, Flawless Glow, really, really nice. So, my coaching journey, let's just start there because I feel like that's kind of pivotal to this whole story. I am doing coaching full-time online for the past 5 years, 5 years, which is nuts, because it was always very much so people with hundreds of thousands of followers, that I thought would make it an actual sustainable business and, that kind of thing. So when I started off, I was just so excited and oh my God, perplexed and so wow, oh my God, I can't believe I'm making money and people are paying me to do this as a job, right? So that was starting off, and I got into it because I just wanted to help people who were facing similar struggles that I did, and help them kind of navigate around that. And by doing that, I was actually making money. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And that was, the first few months. And then, bang, COVID hit. So online coaching suddenly blew up to levels nobody expected. Everybody and their mother needed an online coach, and everybody was just booming. Business was booming. By the way, that is my makeup foundation, is the Fenty Beauty Soft Illuminate one. So yeah, it was just really busy, and I was just so thankful that me as a normal person could make this viable business and succeed and actually get that amount of clients and make that amount of money. So COVID went on and on and on. And then I went home to visit. And by the way, this is a viral concealer hack if you haven't seen it. It's the act before you use it as a primer. Went home, visited, obviously had the freedom to do that because I was online coaching. And then went to Thailand, lived in Thailand for 6 months during COVID, which was nuts. I just, again, was just I can't believe this is me. I'm not someone with hundreds of thousands of followers in a beach club in Bali. This is just not meant to be real life for normal people, right? So did that and was extremely grateful that that was real life. It was crazy. And then came back to Australia eventually and had literally a couple of months, not even, maybe 6 weeks of normality and getting settled in and seeing people before I went on to comp prep. And then, comp prep is just a black hole that sucks you in and nothing else kind of comes into your life for those 6 months. So it's very consuming, time-wise, energy-wise, financial-wise. Nothing else really has your, attention. So it was literally work, prep, trying to find a house, that kind of stuff. Gary got back. We moved into our house, the one we're in now. We're in this the last year and a half. And got Django. You can't see me flying on the floor outside the bathroom. He's so cute. And that was amazing. So we were kind of then into normal life as coaches, right? Instead of swanning the world type of coaching, which is the side that everybody thinks happens all of the time to everybody. It doesn't. Like, that's not normal life. As much as we wish it was sometimes. But also I was craving a lot of normality in that time, you know, like it wasn't, not that I wasn't enjoying it, but I was missing kind of being able to go and get Greek yogurt in a supermarket, being able to go for a coffee with the girls, and you know, that kind of stuff. Like, you do crave that when you're away for long periods of time. Let me just concentrate and do this powder. So this is part of that concealer hack that I mentioned. It's the Superstay foundation powder. And like, look, those under eyes. What under eyes, right? So that was my coaching, building a business phase. And when I got back, it was normal life, okay? So then you were kind of in the reality of, oh, this isn't all sunshine and rainbows. It's not all beach clubs and, you know, diving trips and all this kind of stuff. And it is a home office job, okay? Now, I was never somebody who really enjoyed office jobs. I struggled probably with 9 to 5. Like, I had been doing PT, I'd been teaching boot camps, I had been flying for years. You know, I was doing very customer-facing jobs that were, you know, quite social and, yeah, just very different to an office job. And when I did work on my own, I really struggled with, what was I doing? I was like a sales support and marketing kind of thing, which, you know, should have been good because I'd studied that and that kind of stuff. Anyway, no, wasn't for me. So then I'm also going to pause the coaching there because I feel like I need to fill in a little bit more of the story for the last year. When I got back and I went on to prep, that was all fine. And then fast forward into the beginning of last year, so the beginning of 2023, and things started to take a bit of a turn. So I lost one of my best friends. She was my first ever friend in Australia, first person I went for coffee with, you know, like someone I saw a lot because she was working shift work and was around during the week and we could go for coffees and stuff like that. And I spent a lot of time with her, and then she passed away, really unexpectedly. And that was obviously really awful. But because I was on prep, I suppose I wasn't, not that I didn't notice it as much, but you kind of can't lose yourself in grief. Like, you just have to keep soldiering on. And didn't really, I suppose, properly process it until afterwards. BTW, my contour routine is Bahama Mama from the BAM and Warm Soul from MAC for blush. So yeah, that was my friend Fiona, and that was really, really shit. Then come to my show, did the show, great, and I'm getting back into normal life. And, you know, going to see people, but also realising that I had more spare time on my hands. And the people you spend the most time with outside of prep are obviously going to fill a lot of that gap. So with one friend gone, and then I also found out that my like best friend had been talking and telling lies behind my back, which obviously was very hurtful, and that was the end of that friendship. She's been talking about me, Gary, Django, all that kind of stuff, and making up absolute lies, so there's no going back from that. So I was obviously very cut up about that because it was like a level of friendship that you'll experience kind of a few times in your life. Like, very few people will know you that well. So then I was faced with all of this spare time from prep, not being there and not having to get cardio done and steps done and everything. And two of the people who I'd spent the most time with in Australia were no longer there in my life. So I had a big void. And then pair that with the fact I do bodybuilding. It's a very solo sport. It's not a very social sport. It's a very lone ranger, lone wolf sport. And the fact that I was now in normal life, working from home, sitting at a laptop all day, every day on my own, that created an environment for me that was kind of, the cracks started to show, right? Because I just wasn't built to be in that environment, and I never really fully considered that, well, actually that's what online coaching is. Now, I love coaching. I love working with the girls, who, by the way, I'm still working with. I love helping them, guiding them, teaching them, you know, like celebrating their wins and sharing big moments with them and supporting them and, you know, educating them. Like, I love that. And that's what I suppose most people who get into coaching get into it for, right? Is to help people, to teach people, to pass on knowledge. But that's not all online coaching is, because online coaching has turned into this different beast, okay, with social media. And with that came immense pressure and a lot of struggle. There was immense pressure to constantly pump out content, immense pressure to look a certain way, immense pressure to come in your stories, even if you're fucking depressed. And I got to the point where I just couldn't do it. And it was just really taking a toll on me. And, you know, you're stressed out if a piece of content doesn't do well because you spent 5 hours creating it. That kind of, you know, like, there's just constant stress with social media. Why is that person achieving this or getting that or looking like this or, you know, feeling like that? But guess what? It's all fucking bullshit, because people, not everyone is just killing it and feeling great. Like, they're just not. So you know that people are putting up highlight reels because you're putting up highlight reels, but still you get sucked into the whole comparison thing and put mad pressure on yourself. So I definitely fell into that trap, and I couldn't, after a while, pull myself out of the hole. I could pull myself out temporarily. I could kind of do things to make me feel better in the moment. I, you know, had playlists, this, that and the other. I could go for a coastal walk, but they weren't filling the void. Like, they just weren't. And it took me a while to realise that's what it was. It wasn't just a phase, you know, because, like, I've struggled with mental health before a lot, and it just wasn't the same. And I needed to get to the bottom of really, like, what was actually going to help and why I was feeling like that. I had gone back on medication, worked temporarily, and then it didn't, and, like, I just didn't know what to do. So that was it. That kind of came to a peak, I'd say November, December, January last year. It was pretty rough. Or like November, December last year, January this year. February I went to Dubai and then got back. And randomly, when I got back, so years ago, I know this story is kind of like jumping from one thing to the other, but I feel like everything's kind of relevant and it feeds into each other. So stay with me, okay? And no, I don't have ADHD. So years ago, I did a lot of, like, promotional work, right? Really enjoyed it. You know, it was just chatting to people. It was easy. It was fun. You know, you got to do some cool gigs, work with some cool brands, that kind of stuff. So I kind of supported myself through college, doing that kind of a thing. And I'd signed up with this agency here ages ago. Like, I mean, ages ago. And just, you know, one of those things you do and put out of your mind. That was it. And I got this random text one day, and it was like they were looking for people who knew about cars. And I was like, oh, no way. So for anyone who doesn't know, I love cars, love engines, petrol head, like, was around bikes a lot when I was younger. My dad used to race. We used to go to car races and watch and car shows, and I used to go, like, drifting and whatever. I just love cars. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I was thinking, yeah, I'm going to get, like, to go to a big car show or whatever festival. It still wasn't that. So I was kind of, like, duped into doing that. But it ended up being such a light bulb moment. It was not a great gig, but I had time that the week they were looking for people, and I was like, oh, whatever, I'll do it. Because they need people who are able to actually talk about the cars. So it was, you know, one of those shopping centre displays with cars. Literally that. So, like, nothing exciting. But I was coming home every day absolutely buzzing. Like, I was in such a good mood. I was excited to kind of talk about my day. I was excited about the people I'd met and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I was like, why am I in such good form? Like, it's just not a great gig. So I figured out, it's because I was talking to people and around people and socialising and having social connection. And that was something that had been massively missing in my life that I was very used to having previously. So, ding, 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 light bulb moment. Then I just by chance had, I had half started like a register of interest on Virgin's website before. And I was like, I'll go and just, I get this email randomly during that promotional period saying, oh, reminder to complete your profile or whatever, complete your registration of interest. By the way, Charlotte Tilbury dupe from MCO, if you haven't tried it, setting spray, really, really good. And that eyeshadow was just the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glow. And Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze. So yeah, I completed my registration of interest. And the next day, I got an email and it was like, please complete your full application. And I was like, oh, nice one. So I did that. The next day, I get an email saying, your application's successful. We want you to send through a video interview. So you do like these pre-recorded things. So I was like, oh my God, amazing. So I did up my old flight attendant makeup and that was all great. Did that and it was like, that was the Thursday of the Easter weekend. So like Good Friday was the next day. Obviously didn't hear back for a few days. And then when Tuesday comes around, I get this email and it was like, you've been selected to attend a recruitment day. And I was like, what the hell? So I clicked on and it was the following day. And I was like, what the hell? So it was all happening so fast. And had to go and buy clothes because I'd just been living in activewear and baggy t-shirts. And went to the recruitment day the next day and not one bit of nerves. It was good nerves, right? It was good nerves, but it wasn't like worried nerves. And I just went in and it was like I had arrived home. And this was an interview. It wasn't even into the actual company. And I just was so at ease and so comfortable and so confident and so happy and excited. It was like, these are my people. Like I had just missed the flying aviation buzz because I had never left flying because I didn't like flying. I loved flying. Like I adored my two flying jobs, Aer Lingus and Scandinavian Airlines. I adored flying and I was really fucking good at it. And I left because I was moving to Australia and you couldn't do it here without PR. So that was just kind of the end of an era and something that I suppose the time had gone on with the coaching and it had obviously been successful and there was no way I could have done both and I'd kind of forgotten about it, right? I'd put it out of my head because I was like, well, clearly I'm just going to be coaching forever. So yeah, I would have got into it if I got here first and you were allowed to do it on working holiday. You can because it's the security stuff with like, permanent residency and stuff. So unbelievable. And I walked out of that interview and literally texted Gary and was like, if I don't get that, I will be shocked. Like shocked. And they were like, you'll hear back in 3 days. And literally that evening I got a text to say I had the job. And from that moment, I can't describe the relief that I felt. I was just like, oh my God, like I'm going back. I had got to a point as well in my whole like physical, mental state that I no longer kind of saw a point in, like this was dressing up, like this activewear was fancy, right? Like I was wearing baggy t-shirts, my hair was just scraped up, makeup I hadn't worn in I don't know how long, I hadn't bought new makeup in years, and I just, my spark was gone. My spark was totally gone and totally fizzled out when I was sitting at home on my own all day with no reason to get dressed up or to look pretty or to, look after myself really. I had no idea how to dress myself anymore. Like my style and my fashion and all of that sense had gone because I just wasn't around those circles and like I wasn't in those situations. So I really, really lost myself for a long time. And I knew the minute I got that job, I was coming the fuck back, baby. And I did, because I've got so many messages over the last while on Instagram since I announced I was going back flying, and it's genuinely people saying, you look so happy, you look so much more happy the last few weeks, like you're absolutely buzzing, you're coming on talking in your stories, and like aviation is mental, like it's last minute changes, it's shift work, it's early mornings, it's late nights, and I don't care. Like I don't care. I can honestly say, hand on my heart, going to work every day, I'm buzzing. I love it. I'm so happy I made the decision. I'm so grateful to myself for taking that step. And for a long time, I was really scared to say anything about it because I was judging myself so hard initially for not being able to stick it out, or to, you know, like, oh, you should be able to, you know, withstand all of this stuff and put up with it, and that's just what coaching is, and this person can do it, so why can't you? And, you know, there was just so much self-judgment and so much guilt and so much negative headspace going on. But then I realised, you're the happiest you've been in so fucking long. Nothing else matters. Like, nothing else actually matters. The money doesn't matter. The nice things don't matter. Like, they're all nice to have, right? Because I can tell you, I definitely didn't go back flying for the money. Like, anyone flying will tell you that. But I love it, and I feel fulfilled, and I feel happy and content, and I feel like me again, which is really important after such a long time. So I think the fact that more people don't talk about it, or more people don't admit it, is really sad, because I'm not the only one feeling this way. What prompted me to actually finally make this video was someone messaging me the other day, another coach who would have been one of the coaches that I was guilty of comparing myself to, in terms of them killing it and them just being able to keep going and to keep up the fight, like, you know. And this person messaged me and said that she was just totally falling out of love with it, and that she needed a career change, and that the pressure was too much and she was exhausted. And I was like, what? Like, I was shocked. So it just goes to show, Instagram is such a pile of utter bullshit. Like, people put up what they want to put up. People make you think what they want you to think, and that person could be suffering beyond belief. Like, I certainly told no one how bad it had gotten for me, and like, this person has told no one how bad it's gotten for her. So like, I just hope by making this video and saying that people are feeling this way, that someone who's maybe in a really bad spot and unsure what to do and berating themselves because they feel like they should be able to just sit at their laptop and get on with it, you don't fucking have to. Like, you just don't have to. I still coach, I still work with a small core group of girls who are amazing, and who I'm able to continue that whole education and evolution with, and help them achieve their goals, fulfill me in that regard. And then also I get to have another completely different industry with a completely different type of job, and also feel happy and fulfilled in that, and not have the pressures of being on my phone all the time, on social media, comparing myself constantly, because I just don't have to anymore. Like, it's, and I feel like now that I'm back in the real world, I'm back being me, and all of those things, like my little spark is coming back. I'm doing my nice recipes again, which, when's the fucking last time I did one of those? And like, it's just those little things. I'm also feeling like I can give much more real life, genuine, authentic advice to people, because I'm back in the working realm, right? And I get it. I'm not like on my own at home all day with the luxury of cooking my 5 or 6 meals and going to the gym when I want, you know? So it's just been a really good insight into that, I think. And yeah, that's just my little words of encouragement. Like, at the end of the day, your happiness, your inner peace, your fulfillment, that's what matters, because the older you get, you don't want to be getting more miserable. You want to be doing something that's actually making you happy and that you feel good about doing, and not forcing yourself to be in a position where you're just not happy and you're not feeling fulfilled, and that you're actually really struggling and that you're very lonely and lost doing. So, like, I think I've just gotten to the point where I don't care. Like, some people are going to watch this and maybe not agree at all, or think I'm a fucking idiot, or like, maybe they're judging me too. And guess what? I don't care. There's someone going to watch this and it's going to be like, oh my God, I'm so glad she said that. So, there you go. Take 2 was absolutely not shorter. I think maybe by 2 minutes or 5 minutes. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. That's really why I went back flying, because I love flying. I also love coaching, and the two don't need to be mutually exclusive. I love aviation. It's exciting. It's different. It's a mad lifestyle. And it's just been nice to work as a team again and be in that environment and kind of find my spark again. And that is it for now.